Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Former Syracuse and Ohio State QB Kyle McCord will visit the Steelers. The Steelers' quarterback search will include getting an up-close look at Kyle McCord ahead of the 2025 NFL Draft. McCord, who started at Ohio State in 2023 and at Syracuse in 2024, will go to Pittsburgh next week, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN. At the moment, the Steelers' only quarterbacks are Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson, and Pittsburgh obviously needs more than that. Plan A is signing Aaron Rodgers, but that wouldn't preclude them from also drafting a quarterback. If they pick one in the first round, it could be Colorado's Shedeur Sanders, who is visiting the Steelers today. McCord could be an intriguing choice later in the draft. He led the Buckeyes to an 11-0 start in 2023, but after a loss to Michigan led to calls to replace him, he transferred down to Syracuse. Despite playing with much less talent around him in 2024, McCord had a strong season for Syracuse, throwing for 4,779 yards with 34 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, and went 10-3 as a starter. He's not an elite NFL prospect, but he could be an interesting developmental choice for the Steelers, perhaps learning from Rodgers as a rookie. The Pittsburgh Steelers officially hosted North Carolina running back Omari Hampton, among others, ahead of the 2025 NFL Draft. In the absence of four-year starter Najee Harris, the Pittsburgh Steelers running back search added three new names, officially, to the growing list of candidates on April 9, with the headliner being potential first-round draft talent Omari Hampton. Along with Oregon defensive tackle Derek Harmon, the Steelers hosted Hampton, North Carolina, and Oklahoma State running back Ollie Gordon too on Wednesday, according to Pittsburgh Post-Gazette beat writer Ray Fittipaldo. A couple of hours later on April 9, the Draft Network's Justin Mello also reported that UCF ball carrier R.J. Harvey told him he has a pre-draft visit scheduled with the Steelers too. Mello revealed this bit of information after interviewing Harvey exclusively. Justin Fields speaks out on Steelers' midseason benching. Quarterback Justin Fields was a great teammate after the Pittsburgh Steelers benched him following his 4-2 start to the 2024 season. Despite no longer being on the team, Fields has continued being a stand-up football player. During his introductory press conference with the New York Jets on Wednesday, Fields once again addressed his Week 7 benching. Fields implied he struggled with Mike Tomlin's decision to start Russell Wilson beginning on October 20. However, Fields again ultimately supported his former coach's choice. "It was different for me and a space I wasn't really comfortable," Fields told reporters, via The Athletic's Zach Rosenblatt. But Coach Tomlin made a decision he thought was best for the team. "I'm never going to go against that. I just tried to change my perspective and get better in practice." In one season with the Steelers, Fields completed 65.8% of his passes for 1,106 passing yards with 5 touchdowns and 1 interception. His completion percentage was a career best along with his interception rate. Fields also rushed for 289 yards and 5 touchdowns, leading the Steelers to a 4-2 record as a starter. In NFL free agency, Fields signed a 2-year, $40 million contract to join the Jets. Perhaps it's fitting the Jets waited almost a full month to hold Fields' introductory press conference. With it held now, Steelers Nation had time to fully reflect what's happened behind center in Pittsburgh over the past several weeks. All signs point to Aaron Rodgers signing with the Steelers to start in 2025. Whether that happens or not, Pittsburgh is fully turning over its quarterback room for the second consecutive year. Fields was one of the major dominoes in that happening. Multiple reporters and insiders identified 26-year-old as the main quarterback target for the Steelers this offseason. But the team was unable to agree to a contract before Fields' agent began negotiating with the Jets. Depending on the analyst, Rodgers is considered an upgrade over Fields. But at best, Rodgers is a short-term upgrade since he's 15 years older than Fields. One has to wonder if Tomlin didn't bench Fields in favor of Wilson in October, would Fields still be Pittsburgh's starting quarterback? The obvious second part of that question is whether the benching played a role in Fields' decision not to return to Pittsburgh. If it did, it's much more likely the Steelers will one day regret the choice to begin starting Wilson. But Fields made it clear to reporters that the benching didn't factor much into his free agency decision. Not really. You can't take things personal, Fields told the media. At the end of the day, I was just excited about what the Jets had going on here. It didn't have anything to do with Pittsburgh but the opportunity one had here to make an impact. It's much more likely money played a role. NFL reporter Aditi Kinkhabwala reported the Steelers' offer to Fields didn't include any guaranteed money after the first year. If the Steelers really wanted Fields to return, they likely would have made a more competitive offer. But the question that will remain unanswered is if the benching didn't happen, would Fields have played well enough for the Steelers to confidently offer him a better deal to stay? Steelers Nation will never know. Pittsburgh radio host says George Pickens will be traded during 2025 NFL Draft. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a team to watch for the next month for multiple reasons. For starters, they are all but certainly signing quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Next, they could be on the verge of making another blockbuster trade, but being the senders rather than the receivers this time around. Pittsburgh finally made their big splash trade for a star receiver when they acquired DK Metcalf from the Seattle Seahawks and immediately signed him to a long-term extension. This left many believing that the Steelers could move on from George Pickens, considering they paid Metcalf, and he and Pickens, for lack of a better term, do the same thing. They are both deep ball receivers who aren't known for refined route trees. If you don't believe me, look at their numbers over the last 2 seasons. Combine that with the fact that this wide receiver class in the 2025 NFL Draft is very deep, and Pickens' history of on-field tantrums and behind-the-scenes struggles, and the dots begin to connect. Chris Mueller of 93.7 The Fan agrees with this notion and made a bold prediction just over 2 weeks ahead of the draft. George Pickens will not be a Steeler by the end of night 2 of the draft, Mueller said. There are teams that should be willing to give up a day 2 pick as the main component of a trade package for Pickens. The Los Angeles Chargers are the team that comes to mind immediately, considering they have Ladd McConkey and a lot of question marks. Most notably, they have no deep threat. The New England Patriots are another team that comes to mind. They need a real deep threat to complement Drake May, and I'd bet Mike Vrabel sees more than one similarity between Pickens and A.J. Brown. Should Pittsburgh really be willing to deal Pickens, that would also mean they are taking a receiver early, potentially in the first round. Regardless, they will have suitors if that's the route they want to go. And you, fan? What do you think about George Pickens' situation? Write to us in the comments.